Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Wednesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to be taking a look at the forecast for the next few days as we cool down into some more seasonable conditions and as we have a few chances of rain this weekend. So starting here with the satellite imagery, you can see we have some high clouds and mid-level clouds that are moving across parts of western Washington this morning. Got a marine layer across most of the area from Seattle southward there. You can see how it moved into the valleys and stuff up along the Olympic Peninsula and along the Oregon coast and in toward Portland a bit. Take a look at this active thunderstorm going on over eastern Oregon. Pretty cool to see that. There's a chance of thunderstorms across that area today and into parts of eastern Washington as well. You can see this pretty good thunderstorm there going over parts of central eastern Oregon, pretty far south of Pendleton there. But pretty interesting to see that on the radar, especially in the morning. There's been a lot of thunderstorms across these areas over the last couple of days. Taking a look back toward Monday, I just wanted to take a look again at some of those high temperatures across the area. It was Monday was a pretty hot day. You had some places reaching the upper 80s to low 90s for a second day in a row. It was noticeably cooler on the coast on Monday as we started to flip the flow back onshore, at least for some of the coastal areas, but it still remained pretty warm across parts of southwest Washington especially. You can see here once this loads that Vancouver and Portland were pretty warm again with highs in the mid-90s there. And then take a look at eastern Washington. You just had some really, really hot temperatures. And I had talked about this a little bit, but it's just interesting to see it happen. You know, we had some really warm temperatures, especially relatively speaking here for early June. 102 at Pasco, 103 there in Yakima, 102 in Ellensburg. Look at some of the stations on the Hanford site up toward 109 degrees. Just really interesting to see how hot it was across eastern Washington there on Monday. So taking a look at our overall pattern here, you can see that we're under some weak ridging right now. That's going to weaken, and as we go in the next couple days, we have this troughing moving in. Now, this is going to bring a few chances of rain, but not all that much. You can see how that troughing remains as we go into the weekend, and then we kind of get into this area of not really much troughing or ridging. So just kind of a little bit more unsettled pattern, clouds at times, some sun at times, highs seasonable in the 70s. You can see as we go toward the end of this forecast period, you have this really big trough offshore, but some ridging building, and we're kind of in between it. So there's a little bit of discrepancy going in toward next week as to what actually happens. Forecasts right now show a better chance of us getting a little bit more rain, which we would need, but we've kind of been waffling back and forth on that too. So our best chances of some rain across the area are Friday, Saturday, it looks like, but not very much. You can see a couple hundredths of an inch for the coast and for some areas north of Seattle, maybe a little bit more in the North Cascades. You can see some thunderstorm-related precipitation for parts of northeast Washington and BC, and then, of course, like we were just talking about, over parts of Oregon and Idaho. But overall, through this weekend, very little precipitation for the area. It will still be pretty nice days. We will have some more marine clouds, so that will keep us on the cooler side. So let's take a look at those high temperatures we're expecting over the next few days. You can see today, Wednesday, we have highs in the low to mid 70s across all of western Washington and upper 50s, low 60s there on the coast. So overall, pretty nice day. Lots of these clouds will burn off, and it will be mostly sunny as we go into the end of the day. A bit cooler there as we go into Thursday with highs in the upper 60s to low 70s and highs on the coast in the upper 50s to low 60s. Same thing there on Friday. And on Saturday, we warm up a little bit more, maybe into some mid-70s for some of the metro area. And then Sunday there on Father's Day, really nice day. You can see highs from Seattle northward in the upper 60s to mid-70s, and from Seattle southward in the mid to upper 70s, maybe near 80 around Portland, and in the low to mid-60s on the coast. Going into next week on Monday there, we're getting a little bit more iffy on our extended forecast details right now, but you can see still highs in the upper 60s to low 70s from Seattle northward, and then mid-70s from Seattle south, and low 60s on the coast. Maybe cooling down a bit as we go into Tuesday of next week, but overall, pretty steady pattern. Highs usually in the 70s there, usually low 70s for most of western Washington, and that's pretty seasonable. That's pretty nice for this time of year. Not too hot, not too cold, and you're not getting any heat wave type signatures just yet, so that's nice to see. And just wanted to point this out here as well, 24-hour temperature change going into 6 p.m. here. You can see some highs across parts of the Seattle area today. From Seattle down toward Olympia and Portland will be 10 to 20 degrees below where they were yesterday. If clouds persist a little bit longer than expected, or we get some cooling as we go into the afternoon and evening hours, that will definitely keep those temperatures down a little bit. And also wanted to point this out. This is the newest drought monitor outlook. It was released last Thursday, so we should have new information tomorrow. We'll see when that gets released. But the thing to note here is this D0, abnormally dry, the first category of drought, now encompasses most of Washington state. You see only this narrow tongue across parts of eastern Washington is not in that abnormally dry category. Now all areas west of the Cascades are, and this D1 moderate drought remains along the Cascades and down toward parts of Clark and Cowlitz counties there, and then up all the Cascades, cutting into the Seattle metro area a little bit as well. So I expect this drought will persist and expand over the next few months here as we remain in what looks to be a drier summer. However, we'll keep watching that over the next few months here to see how this drought plays out. But the key thing to note here is that the percentage of areas covered across western Washington by these drought categories has increased a lot. So we'll keep watching this over the next few months for sure to see how this progresses. So as always, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to me here on Western Washington Weather on YouTube, and like and share these videos. And then please follow me on Blue Sky, on Twitter, and on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. The links to all of these are in the description. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will talk to you all later.